All right, so in this video, we're going to be looking at why are men suffering from low testosterone. But first things first, this is just a disclaimer. None of the statements I'll be making have been evaluated by any government institution. I am not a licensed medical professional, and so all of this is just information, is not medical advice. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's first talk about what some of the symptoms of low testosterone are. In this paper, we can see there's a decreased energy and vitality, decreased well-being and motivation. You're losing your physical or your work performance. You're feeling kind of blue, kind of sad. Sometimes people might get hot flushes or sweats. They have poor concentration, poor memory. Their belly, their waist circumference starts to expand. Their testicles start to shrink a little bit, so the prostate begins to shrink as well. There's reduced beard growth and body hair. There's gynecomastia, or as the bodybuilder bros say, gyno. There's low sexual desire. There's issues with not having a morning erection, issues all across the board with the sexual side of health. There could also be anemia and a lack of bone mineral density, and you could be losing your muscle mass and muscle strength. Now, that's just one paper. Here's a different one that's going through different symptoms such as insomnia or nervousness, a lack of motivation. So if you're feeling lazier, that could be a sign of low testosterone. Decreased vigor and physical energy, diminished muscle mass, that's sarcopenia. So as you get older, you're just not feeling as strong as you used to, even though you're keeping up with your exercise or you're trying your best to eat well, you're still feeling weak. That could be a sign of low testosterone. And here's a different one. The small or shrinking testes, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. Infertility. And yeah, I would just say that like one of the most common symptoms that people notice is just the increased amount of body fat around the belly and the lower levels of muscle mass. Here's one last one. Testicular atrophy. That means atrophy means it's wasting away. So your testicles are shrinking, your muscles are shrinking, losing of your height. That's a scary one. Poor memory, issues with sexual health, all across the board. It just seems to affect the whole body. And right here in this paper, we've got an image of the typical person suffering from low testosterone, and it looks scary because that's how a lot of people are looking these days. I do believe, and research is showing us that we are suffering from a low testosterone epidemic. In this paper here, low testosterone is linked to less muscle mass. Quote, testosterone appears to be a central hormone involved in the development of sarcopenia. That's where you lose muscle mass as you age. And testosterone will increase muscle mass and activate satellite cells, leading to increased muscle function. In this paper here, studies have shown that the decline in testosterone is closely related to the decline in muscle mass and muscle strength. So that as people get older and they're getting weaker and they're just losing their muscle mass, that's linked to low testosterone. And then in this paper, low testosterone is linked to gaining specifically fat at the belly. So it's a spot area, and that's linked to low testosterone. Now, as a good test, it's best to go get your blood checked to see your objective levels. But a good test that's just offhand is how deep someone's voice is. That's an honest signal of testosterone. And in myself, I've noticed that as I've worked on improving my health and fighting against inflammation, I've noticed that my voice has deepened a little bit. It's still not the deepest voice, but just seeing that progress can be a good sign that you're on the right path. So that's something that you can pay attention to. So right now, 1 out of 5 young men are suffering from a deficiency of testosterone. That doesn't mean that the levels are low. This is deficient, not insufficient. So what that means is that your body, 1 out of 5 men literally do not have enough of the hormone to complete the tasks that a male body needs. So we're suffering from huge health issues here. And this is a population-wide problem. What that means is that there's something wrong that we're doing as a group. So you can't just look at someone and say like, oh, well, it's because they do this or because they do that. It's affecting all men across the United States and I would say in Canada as well. And a lot of the Western world, there's something going on that's affecting all the men. and we need to figure out what that is so that we can fix it. And there's been a 25% drop in testosterone in the last 2 decades alone. So what that means is, just looking at the generation before you, those men are actually a lot more manly than our generation and the generation that's following us after. You can see here in the 1999 average measurement was 605, and now in 2016 that measurement is 450. I would say today is probably a lot lower than that, and we just don't have the most recent data to see that. So here's a different paper that was showing that each passing decade, the drop of testosterone is getting worse and worse and worse. So there's something going on across the population, and we need to figure out what it is and to fix it. And people are beginning to notice this severe testosterone deficiency. I don't like to tease this guy too much. He didn't post a picture. It was his family member, but it's a good example of what's going on here. So this is the great grandson of the man on the right. They're both 17 years old in this picture. And you can see the difference in the face. They have very similar genetics. It's just a difference in testosterone. You can see the bone density changes that's making the guy on the right looking a lot stronger at the exact same age. Here's another funny one. Grandma sent me a picture of my grandpa at my age to make me feel like shit. So you can see these are it's the same lineage living in the same area of the world, and the guy on the right is looking a lot less strong with a lot more fat being carried at the bellies. And people are noticing that there's something going on with testosterone, there's something going on with men, and we need to figure out what it is. Now, this is just a little side note, but neoteny is this idea of keeping childlike traits in your bone, muscle, and brain as you continue to mature. Could this problem be due to a testosterone deficiency? So this is something that a lot of people are talking about these days, where when you're 35, you still look a little bit like a kid. So here's the singer of La Bamba. He's 17 years old in this photo, and he looks like a mature man. Now, he doesn't look old. He's got a full head of hair. He doesn't have any wrinkles or anything like that, but he's got maturity. He looks a lot older, and it could be because his bone is matured, his muscle is matured, and his brain is matured. So he looks like people look today when they're 45. So low testosterone, why is this happening? A 2020 expert review has found that there's a nutrient deficiency going on with people suffering from low testosterone, such as zinc, magnesium, and vitamin D. There are also environmental factors that are stressing the body. There's mental stress, and there's oxidative stress. And so all of these things are fighting against the body that's causing our testosterone to drop. Now, a 2016 review has found that about 1 in 5 men suffer from a varicocele, and that increases all the way up to 42% as men age. Now, a varicocele is where there's an issue with blood flow getting to and away from the testicle, and it causes the veins to kind of have this worm-like feeling, and that lack of blood flow causes testicular shrinkage. So the testicles are shrinking, they're losing their ability to produce these sex hormones that are important for men. And varicoceles are a risk factor for low sex hormones like testosterone, and they're linked to blood problems with your blood vessels and your cardiovascular health. So the varicocele is actually a sign of if you have developing heart disease or not. So all these things are linked. A low testosterone is linked to having a heart disease problem. If we can fix the blood flow to the testicle will get stronger, and it'll be able to produce the sex hormones in greater amounts and improve your testosterone. In a 2016 review, a repair of varicocele would raise the testosterone. Now, I'm not a big fan of this surgery. You haven't addressed the root cause. You're just repairing the vein, but you haven't addressed why there's thick, sludgy blood that's causing this issue in the first place. So how does somebody know if they have a varicocele? Well, a grade 0 is when you can see the varicocele on an ultrasound, but not physically detectable. A grade 1 is when you can feel it during an exam, when you're performing the Valsalva maneuver. Now that's sort of when you're like bearing down, you're going, and then you're kind of pressuring, like imagine that you're going to pick up a big weight and you do that pressure in your core. That's the Valsalva maneuver, and you can, if you have a varicocele, you can actually feel the veins enlarge, and that's a grade 1. Grade 2 is where you can feel the varicocele without the Valsalva maneuver, so without doing that pressure, you can just feel it all the time. And a grade 3 is where you can see the varicocele just plainly if you were to look at it. And so I didn't know I had one of these for a while, and I've been working on it, and it's been getting better over time. And a lot of the clients that I've been working with to help them solve their stubborn fat and their stubborn muscles, I've asked them, and they're like, yeah, I have that. So I think this could be an underestimated cause of the low testosterone epidemic. So this is just my 2 cents. I'm throwing it out there. Now, there are a lot of anecdotes of aspirin and horse chestnut bringing relief to people struggling with blood flow to the testicles. Now, that doesn't fix the root cause of why there's sludgy blood to begin with, but it thins the blood, allowing the blood to get to the testicle and move away. We're going to cover all of this in just a minute, but low testosterone is linked to a fatty liver. So if you have a blood problem to the testicles, you also probably have a problem with your liver. Now, low testosterone is also linked to having an H. pylori infection in the gut. So if you have low testosterone, you may also be struggling with other symptoms in the gut, such as acid reflux or just persistent throat clearing, or those kinds of things, a lot of burping. And so an H. pylori infection is linked to a fatty liver disease. So that's a serious risk factor. If you have this gut issue, you may have the fatty liver disease, and you may have the low testosterone. So all of these things are linked. And so with that in mind, what can we do to fix this issue? So we want to keep in mind that testosterone starts from cholesterol. Cholesterol is the building block of the sex hormones. And so we want to be wary of anything that plays with cholesterol. For example, in this systematic review and meta-analysis on statins, looking at how they affect testosterone, the conclusion the researchers found, was that statins may partially operate by lowering testosterone. So you want to be very wary of medicine. This is not medical advice. I'm just showing you the paper for you to consider. We also want to keep in mind that vitamin D starts from cholesterol. So if you're taking a statin that's affecting cholesterol, that's also going to be affecting your vitamin D levels. And testosterone and vitamin D are linked. They change seasonally together. So in the summer, your testosterone levels will be a little bit higher. And in the winter, when your vitamin D levels will drop, your testosterone levels will drop as well. And here's a different paper showing the correlation between the two. Now, in this paper, we found that low vitamin D is linked to low testosterone. In another paper, lower vitamin D levels were associated with lower total testosterone levels. Now, this is just my belief, but you can't just take a vitamin D3 supplement to replace the totality of the sun. The sun is a lot more than vitamin D. Here's a quote: ultraviolet exposure may have a protective effect against lymphoma and multiple myeloma, and this may be because of mechanisms that are independent of vitamin D. Here's a different paper. Multiple trial data show that oral vitamin D supplementation has no effects on these endpoints, talking about blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic syndrome. So we know that having higher vitamin D levels is improving cardiovascular health, but when people take the supplement, it doesn't seem to fix the issue. So the supplement is not replicating the sun and everything that the sun does for us. Here's another study: can adverse effects of vitamin D supplementation occur without having high levels? And so they're saying that the vitamin D supplements induces hypercalcemia, hyperphosphatemia. So basically it's raising all these levels. It's playing with the body. The body has a tight system of how it operates hormones, and then you're just overdosing on this one hormone, you're going to set off all these other cycles where if you get sunshine, you're not playing with the system that the body would prefer to use. And here's a study about how they banned fortification of food in certain countries, such as in the UK. The Royal College of Physicians, they quickly banned the fortification of any food or personal use with vitamin D. This ban quickly spread across Europe, Asia, India, and South America because of all the side effects that people were getting when they were overdosing on this one vitamin. And we're still adding it to milk in America and Canada, and I think Sweden and Finland as well, maybe fortifying their milk and butter and things like that with vitamin D. So you want to be wary of the supplements and instead focus on sunshine. As an example, here's a study on rats. One group of rats, both groups of rats were made vitamin D deficient. One group got a vitamin D supplement. The other group of rats were exposed to sunshine out in a field, in a cage, and only the sunshine group had their vitamin D levels properly restored with their bone restoring back to its original strength. And the researchers said, sun exposure on bone health may extend beyond the normalization of vitamin D levels to a more positive effect on bone structure. So there may be other hormones that are controlling bone mass that are mediated by other mechanisms. So researchers are still trying to figure this out. Why isn't the supplement performing the same way as sunshine? So we need to focus on sunshine. Now, there are lots of little tactics out there. I don't like to focus too much on tactics in YouTube videos like this because they're always changing. There's always new information coming out. But things like royal jelly can help to boost testosterone. That's a specific part of the beehive that only the queen would eat. So when you harvest the hive, you can get the special royal jelly. It's going to need to be frozen or kept in the fridge because it does spoil, unlike regular honey. But even regular honey itself is great for boosting testosterone. Honey is antibacterial, which might be one reason it's anti-heart disease and it's anti-diabetic. So it might be killing that infection in the gut as you eat it, while also providing you energy and a lot of other nutrients. Increasing your amount of raw honey could be a great option to boost testosterone. You also want to avoid things that are a burden on the body because your immune system has to clean it up. And so if your immune system is helping to clean up those gut infections and helping to clean up your liver and all these things, we want to try and avoid things that don't give us any benefit that are hurting our bodies. So in these studies, they found that excess fluoride exposure was leading to low testosterone levels in male farmers who were getting exposed to it. And so the largest sources of fluoride is obviously it's toothpaste, but also fluoridated tap water and anything that's made with that. So that would include beer or soda pop or soup or all these different things that are made with tap water that's fluoridated. It's going to have high levels of fluoride. And so if you're worried about your cavities or anything like that, you may want to switch to something less toxic, such as hydroxyapatite. There's a lot of toothpaste out there that will do just as good as fluoride in terms of remineralization, but without any of the side effects. You could also start smoking and drinking more coffee. Now, I'm joking. I am not recommending that you start to smoke, but those things have vitamin B3 or nicotine, which is linked to nicotinic acid. And those things will help to improve gut health temporarily. So it is a Band-Aid solution. It does come with downsides. Obviously, breathing in secondhand smoke or just smoke itself is not good for you. But you can understand why people have their vices. If it's helping to improve their digestion, that's going to help improve their blood flow, and that's going to help boost testosterone levels. But it's better to fix the root cause. Why is there the immune system problem to begin with? You want to get outside and eat nutritious foods. So we want to fight against bad gut health. So we want to pay attention to what foods make you feel great after you eat them and what foods make you feel kind of sluggish, kind of tired. They make you want to lay down on the couch. And so you want to eat more of the foods that make you feel great, things like carrots or steak or whatever it is that makes you feel awesome. And then try and limit those foods that make you feel sluggish. So if you notice that you feel not great after eating a big helping of pasta or something like that, you may want to kind of limit those foods, and that's going to relieve the burden on the body. Work on your digestion, pay attention. And so just as to wrap up this idea, the fight is against chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation leads to the sludgy blood. That's going to lead to the testicles shrinking, and that's going to lead to a low testosterone level in the body. So we want to fight against inflammation. That's going to allow your testosterone to rise naturally. So you want to pay attention, keep a log, pay attention to what foods make you feel good, what foods make you feel bad, keep tweaking. Work on rebuilding the immune system. So that's the main thing. You want to improve the body's natural defenses. That's going to allow for better blood flow, and that's going to make the whole body work better. Now, there's only so much I can cover in a YouTube video, so I want to know what your thoughts are. Leave a comment. You can also email me. I've put the email up there, and I want to invite you to join the Outlive newsletter, because I send a weekly email and it can't get censored. I can't get shadow banned. We won't lose touch, and I can keep you up to date on all these sorts of things. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment and let's chat. And I hope I'll see you in the next one.